Hey guys, if you're listening to this, you obviously like podcasts. You probably like music too, I would imagine. On Spotify, you can listen to all of that in one place for free. You don't even need a premium account. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now. The good thing is, is on Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcast so you never miss an episode. You can download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, so you don't have to worry about it cutting in and out like I have to when I'm at work. And you can easily share what you're listening to with your friends via Spotify's integrations with social platforms like Instagram. Just search for the Really Rich Podcast on the Spotify app or browse podcasts in the Your Library tab. And follow me so you never miss an episode of the Really Rich Podcast. Last but not least, though, Spotify is the world's leading music streaming service. I don't know if you guys knew that. I did not, but it is. And now it can be your go-to for podcasts as well. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Adam Rich from the Really Rich Podcast. Today I want to talk to you guys about how presidents of companies, CEOs, some of them are extremely phenomenal, not just at how they run business or how they do business, but how they treat their employees, the culture of the business. And then other ones are fucking terrible. They're just the way they treat people. They may be profitable for a few years. They may be making money, putting bucks back in their own pockets, but they just are absolute trash with how they treat their employees. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up today is it's very relevant, especially if you are an entrepreneur, if you own your own business of any kind and you have any kind of employees. Because you don't necessarily have to have employees to own your own business. I don't. I own my own podcast. I do my own distributing. I make my own money and sponsors and things like that. And I have 0 people helping me out. And while I do enjoy the format of making sure that everything that I want done is done the way, that I want it and all that stuff. And it's more about the reason why I wanted to do everything myself is because A, I don't have the money to be paying other people to be helping me out right now. And B, I thoroughly enjoy learning the process of every single thing that I do that's involved with the business. I wanted to know how to do the podcast, so I learned about audio equipment and visual equipment. And then I learned how to, what platform to go on, how to distribute it, how to produce it. I learned about the audio equipment, like what does what and what kind of camera I should be using, what kind of microphone I should be using. I then learned about how sponsors work, how to go about getting them. I learned about the marketing side of it, how to use social media to advertise, how to use Facebook ads to promote and things like that. And I learned all that because I don't want to be the type of, I don't want to be in this business and basically rely on other people to do everything, because at any given time, that person, whoever it is, maybe I got a cameraman, maybe I got somebody producing the audio, maybe I got somebody distributing all the marketing, the videos and the sound bites and things like that. But the bottom line is I don't want to rely on somebody else, because if the day comes where that person quits or they move on to do something else, or health issues or anything can pop up where that person is no longer reliable for me, I want to know, I want to be able to, I want to know that my podcast isn't going to fucking go on pause because of it. I got into this thinking to myself, you know what, I'm going to do everything on my own. I'm going to learn everything about it because, dude, I thirst for knowledge. I love having knowledge, and it doesn't go very far if you rely on somebody else to do everything for you. You're just kind of there. Like, I like knowing everything about everything I'm doing. I'd like to be an expert in everything if I can, but it doesn't happen with everything, obviously. But the thing I've learned through all this, just from studying, because I constantly study, not just podcasting, not just the production of it, not just the marketing of it, but the idea of being an entrepreneur itself, the idea of running a business. Because ultimately, if I get, if this moves in the right direction, I start making more and more money, I'm going to need to hire people to be part of something. But at the same time, I still at least learned the ins and outs of each part of the business, I guess, each piece that goes into this puzzle. And I like knowing these things. I want to know as much as I possibly can because say I do hire somebody, and this goes with any business. Say you hire somebody to do a specific job, whether it be a cameraman. It doesn't even have to be a podcast. Say you're just hiring positions for inside the company to run certain departments or certain areas of the business itself. Well, if you don't know anything at all about a specific department or a specific part of a job, then you could certainly hire somebody that's, that you could overprice them. You could pay too much thinking that they're doing more than they really are. They could spew you a bunch of lines of bullshit that isn't even true, but if you don't know better, you'll just believe it and then pay them whatever they want, whatever they say they're worth. And at the end of the day, if that person decides to leave, you're fucked. You're right back at square one, not knowing what to do, how to run. You need to operate. If you're an entrepreneur and you have any employees at all, even if it's just one, you need to operate as if that person or persons, what would happen if that person just, heaven forbid they died tomorrow, they disappeared. I won't say die, that's a little grim, but say that person quit or they're something happens to where they're no longer a part of the company. What are you going to do? What's your backup plan? How are you going to operate? How are you going to function? Are you still going to be able to do everything on your own? Are you going to be able to self-produce? Are you going to be able to set up all the cameras, all the equipment and everything? Are you going to, say it's a bigger business, say it's not even podcasting, say you're running a manufacturing company. If a person in your sales department quits, are you qualified to make sales calls? Do you know the product enough to be able to sell it to a customer? Do you know enough about the marketing angle to be able to market if your top marketer disappears or your only marketer disappears? You don't want to spread yourself so thin that you're doing everything and then you can't you can't sleep or you can't have a happy home life. But at the same time, it doesn't hurt to be as knowledgeable as possible in every single department, every single field you can possibly be in. And especially if you're a CEO, a president of a company, if you just run the whole show, if you have multiple employees, even if it's just one, I guess, but the more employees you have, the more critical this is. Culture and how that person feels about you as a boss is extremely important. How this person feels about coming to work every day is extremely important. And there are so many owners of businesses, there are so many presidents of companies that just all they're worried about is their bottom line, their profit margin, ROI, not RPO. Your return on investment, for those of you who don't know what ROI is. There are so many things that go in it, and it's difficult. I don't want to make excuses for owners and presidents and things like that, but it is difficult to manage all of these different departments of your company and also be a decent human being that looks after people. However, I would definitely, any day of the week, I would say prioritizing your employees first is the number one task every single day. It should be. You should never go into work thinking, well, I got to get these forms filled out. I got to get this paperwork done. I got to put these computer entries in. And then maybe if I get time, I'll go out and see how everyone's doing. No. That's backwards. That is ass backwards. You need to be doing things the other way. If your paperwork doesn't get done that day, okay. It doesn't. It's one thing if there are certain things that are urgent and important. There's a difference between urgent and important. Urgent just means it needs to be done now. But it's not necessarily important. Like you could have a deadline. For instance, I'll give you an example. For those of you who are old enough to remember Blockbuster Video, and especially back when there was VHS, the old video cassettes. For those of you, and half the fucking people listening probably have no idea what I'm even talking about right now, but there used to be a policy when you would watch a movie, you'd rent a movie, and this was long before DVDs and shit, this was on the cassette, you'd have to rewind these. They would even ask you, when you return the movie, if you could rewind it first. Now, there would be usually when you rented a movie, you'd get like 3 days. Say you rented it on Friday, it was due back Sunday. sometime before they closed. And if you didn't return it, you'd be fined. Now, here's the deal. On Sunday, say you have a whole bunch of shit going on and you need to prioritize what you're going to get done. Well, returning that movie is urgent because it's due back Sunday. However, it's not super important. If you returned it the next day, you'd probably be fined $1 or $2, I think it was. Which, it sucks when you're paying $2 or $3 for a movie and then you basically got to double the price because you returned it one day late. However, it's not important. It's urgent. It's urgent that you get it back Sunday so you don't get fined. However, is it important? I mean, if you lose $2, that depends how broke you are. If you're that damn broke, you probably shouldn't be renting movies in the first place. But that being said, there is a difference between urgent and important. Your family is important. Your family doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily urgent that you get, it's not urgent that you feed the family. It's important that you feed your family. Urgent is when they're fucking starving and they're about to go into shock because they haven't had food in 7 days. That's a different story. It's still important, but that becomes urgent. When your wife's mad at you because she's hungry and you haven't fed her yet, it's urgent and I'd argue important. But bottom line is there's a difference between urgency and importance. You need to prioritize what is important first, urgent second, and third, how do I want to word this? You need to prioritize what's important first, not urgent. Your people are important. They're not urgent. It's not urgent that you go have that talk with somebody who wants to have a one-on-one meeting with you. It's not urgent to do that, but it is very important to do that. Now, the longer you put this off, the more urgent it becomes, and it's still important, so therefore you should prioritize it. But I guess all I'm really trying to get at, it's not, this episode is not about the difference between urgency and importance. It's purely to let you know that the people, the culture, the morale is what's important. That's why I'm doing this podcast. That's why I'm doing this. Speaking of podcasts, there is something I do need to get out really quickly. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? Well, the answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. When I started using Anchor to do my podcast, it was so extremely easy that I haven't even bothered to look for another app to use. I love this app. It's the only one I deal with, the only one I even recommend, period. I recommend you get on there ASAP. If you want to start a podcast, this is definitely the place to go. It's easy. You can drive around and record. You can sit in your basement and record. You can do it anywhere. It's fantastic. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start, anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. But now that we've nailed that, now that we've gotten that out of the way, what I'm getting at really is it's more than just, I guess, owners and CEOs. It's leaders in general. A good leader wants to lift you up. A good leader wants to lead. A good leader wants you to be great also. They don't want just what's best for them. That's not a good leader. That's just a boss. That's a good... It's not, I wouldn't even say it's a good one. That's just a boss. But being a good CEO, a good owner, a good president, a good leader, it takes sacrificing some of your own benefits, I guess, to make sure that the group, that the people under you, that the people you're leading are also doing great. And when you work at a company, if you are the boss, if you're the president, the owner, or even if you're not, if you just work at a business that's like this, that has a shitty CEO, a shitty president, then you know what I'm talking about. When this person gets all these quarterly bonuses, when they get all these, the best health care, when they get all these extra vacation days, they get Christmas bonuses, when they get all that shit, and you get nothing, you just get your paycheck just for showing up, it shows that there's zero appreciation for the people that are out there doing the actual groundwork. Because basically all an entrepreneur is a person that runs the business in which other people keep it going to make you money. And in turn, by you making this extra money, by you making the money of owning this business, you then should have enough money to then pay the people that are helping you own this business. Because bottom line is this: if you're not working for only yourself, like me, I'm doing my podcast 100% alone. Nobody can fuck that up for me. It's if it wins or fails, it's 100% on me right now. Now, if I start adding employees and shit down the road, it's still the blame will still come to me, but I may have help succeeding otherwise. And that's honestly what's a good difference between a good leader and a bad leader too. I'm well aware that if I hire other people and they suck, that's on me. That's not on them. I'm the one that hires them. So therefore, if they suck, I need to recognize that early enough to not fuck myself over in the long term. At the same time, maybe they are great at what they do, and I'm not giving them the tools they need to be better, to do good for me. Because ultimately, no matter how good you are at doing anything, if you don't have the proper tools to do the job, you ain't going to do it. Like, I don't care if you're the best construction worker on earth. If you don't have a hammer and nails, you ain't hammering and nailing shit. You know what I mean? So you can only get done, you're only as good, I guess, as what you're given, as the tools you have to do the job. And in this particular case, if you have employees that are very, very good, they're probably going to do a very good job for you. And in turn, everybody is successful. But here's one of the keys also. A good entrepreneur knows how to give back to the people that help him or her. If you run your business and you have somebody helping you, an employee who is working for you and you're paying them, it ain't just about a paycheck. If you expect to see a rise in production or a rise in finances, a rise in the amount of money you bring home, even if you're like a president of a company and you see quarterly bonuses, then why shouldn't the people that are earning that, that are working hard to get production out? Like, I work in a company right now, in a production company, a plastics company. And everything is production based. Like, if the employees, the production workers, I guess you could call them, if the production workers don't perform, if they don't make parts, then the company doesn't sell parts. You know what I'm saying? Like, but here's what happens. At my company, the higher ups, the salary workers, the people in management, in the sales department, the people, basically all the salary people, all the people that are in sales, marketing, IT, all across the board, in quality, all these people that are on that side of the wall, as they call it, all the people in that department are the ones that see all the quarterly bonuses. They're the ones that get all the better health care. They're the ones that get all the perks to what the production people are doing. And the production workers barely get shit. They get a paycheck, and that's it, which is good. I mean, you agree to a certain amount of pay, and then when they pay it, you can't complain. However, when you exceed expectations and you don't get anything for it, but all the higher ups that are doing nothing but playing on the computer and sitting around the water cooler, those are the ones getting all the production bonuses. Those are the ones getting all the extra perks, all the extra days off, all the extra health care, the better health care. When they're the ones getting all the rewards and they're not doing a fucking thing to help your business, it's bullshit. And it's like that with any job that runs like that. Then that means you have a shit leader, a shit owner, president, whatever, general manager, whatever position they're in. If they're not giving back to the people that are actually, because think about it like this. If all the production people decided, 1 week, hey, we're not showing up, we're not gonna be there at all, You guys in the front office, go ahead and make these parts, and you go ahead and get them out the door, ship them out, and you guys see how that works out. There would be no production, and the company would immediately close down because there would be nobody to make the parts. So the point is, those production employees are the backbone. They are literally the heartbeat of that company, because if those people aren't there, parts don't get made, the company can't ship them to customers, customers don't get parts, that place runs out of business. But what happens is these people become so greedy that all they want is every single extra penny goes in their own pockets. They want their benefits to get bigger. They want their quarterly bonuses to get bigger. They want their Christmas bonuses to get bigger. That's all they give a fuck about. And when you run a company like that, it is only a matter of time before that company will go out of business. I don't care if you're the owner or if you're just a secretary or a janitor at this building. It does not matter what your position is. A company that is ran like this will not succeed long term. It can't. And when you shit all over the employees like this, when you show them that there's no light at the end of the tunnel for them, when there's no bonus for them, no reward for them, they stop caring, which means your production will go down. The morale becomes shit. Nobody's happy. Everyone wants to bitch and complain all day long, and rightfully so. I get it. And where are you going to go like that? What kind of company runs successfully like that for a long period of time? None of them. Imagine if Pepsi ran like that, how quickly they'd be out of business. If all their production workers got nothing and all the big money just went straight to the higher ups that really don't do shit but manage people. And I get it. I understand that the people in management, if they're holding everything together, if they're keeping good morale, if they're keeping a good culture, if they're keeping the employees happy, maybe they do deserve a good amount of money. But that's a big if. That's only if they happen to do this. Now, when they start trying to take for themselves and make sure they stack their money and their 401k and all that, and they don't care to give back to the employees, well, you're going to run your company out of business. It's like the Titanic. It's going down. It might be going down slowly, but it's going down. And there is not too many rescue boats for a situation like that. And it's just a truth, man. And I wish more companies would understand this. If they understood how valuing your employees is ultimately number one. I don't care if you have one employee, even if the employee is your family. Say you're working with your brother and your brother's your only employee. You better take damn good care of your brother as an employee, or else why should he give a fuck? And here's the reality. Say your brother takes advantage of you because it's your brother and he just doesn't want to work and he just wants to take advantage of it and say, well, you know what, I'm family, so I can kind of get away with this. You need to fire that fucker ASAP, or at least discipline him to the point where he knows, dude, this is your last warning. Either step your shit up or I will replace you. I need the business to get done. There's a reason I hired you. It's not because I like you because we're family. It's because I thought you were capable of doing a very good job. I know how smart you are. I know what you're capable of. And I know you can do a damn good job here. Now, if you don't want to, that's fine. Let me know. No hard feelings. I will let you go and I will find somebody else. We'll continue to be brothers. I'll continue to love you. We'll be best friends. But you're not going to work for me if you're not going to get a good job, if you're not going to do a good job. And that's how you need to approach that situation. Family members, best friends, it doesn't matter. Be kind, be courteous, but get your point across. You got to be somewhat stern, but not a dickhead. Be empathetic, understand where they're coming from, understand why they feel the way they do, but also make sure they understand why you feel the way you do. And that's what makes good leaders. Take care of your people that are helping you be successful, because ultimately it's your business. If you're the owner, if you're the entrepreneur, it's your business. You can't expect them to give a fuck as much as you do. They don't have as much stake in the company as you do. It's yours. My podcast is called Really Rich. My last name is Rich. No matter who the fuck I hire, I don't expect them to care as much as I do. It's not their podcast. It's not their show. It's not their production. It's not their message. They're there to help. They're there to get paid to help me be more successful. And the more successful I am, the more successful they'll be. That's why I firmly, listen, whenever I hire, if I ever decide to hire anybody, because I don't know where this is going. I hope it's going good places. I hope it becomes so big I have no choice but to hire. But I know this, my number one first rule, just knowing from the shit that I've dealt with at other companies, my number one rule will be the more I make, the more you're going to make. That's the number one rule. And it doesn't necessarily mean like you're going to get 50% of everything I do. That's not at all what I mean. All I mean is you're going to have a base salary, regardless what it is. A base salary, it could be $1 a day. It could be $5 million a day. It doesn't matter what the number one or what the price is. It doesn't matter what you price out their salary as. When you exceed your expectations, when you exceed what you need to, first off, be transparent. You need to set goals. You need to make sure everyone's on the same page, and you need to be open and honest with them. Don't sugarcoat like if things are going bad, let them know. Don't panic, don't worry, but just let them know, like, look, you're going to still get your base salary, but we're not doing good right now. So that's all you're going to get is your base salary. When we start doing better as a team, not when I start getting more money, but when we start doing better as a team, we will both profit from it. But as of right now, your base salary is this. We're not doing too well right now, so this is all you're going to get. And if you agree to that ahead of time, you can't bitch and complain when that's all you're getting. But when times are good and you're making extra, you're going to get extra from me. And I wish every company ran like that. I want if anyone ever works for me, I want them to know and feel the appreciation I have for them helping me accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. Because I know it's not their dream, it's mine. And if they're helping me to accomplish my dream, they definitely deserve a reward for that. And so many companies look at it as, it's just a business. It's just a business. I'm going to pay this person to do this, and then all the extra money goes to me because they agreed to make this amount of money per year or whatever. And so when the company does great, that's all they're not getting any extra. And trust me, if a person knows that the better a business does, the more money they're going to get, trust me, they're going to do everything in their power to make a company more money because they know they're going to feel some of that. And everyone wants to make more. Everyone, if you're employed at a company, regardless what position you have, if you're employed in a company and you know that the better the company does, the more money you're going to get, you're going to do everything in your power to be your best because you know that it's going to help you make more money. And ultimately, that's why we have jobs. Right? That's why we work. Now, I encourage people to try to get into the type of a job where it doesn't feel like a job, where it feels like something you love doing, so that way the money's just extra. The money's just bonus. But go to if you're going to work at a company, work for a company that you know the culture is really good. And when I say culture is good, I mean that the way that the management treats their employees is just fucking fantastic. It needs to be. It's ultimately the number one goal in a business. If I go to work for a place, I want the culture to be great. That's going to be almost the number one thing I look for from here on out, is making sure that my happiness is met, that the culture around me, whether it's in my family or at my work, I want the culture around me to be good, positive, happy, good, like positive morale. Everyone's uplifted. Everyone's feeling good. Because that's a good environment to be around. That's a good environment to surround yourself with. You don't want negativity every day. You know? So, I don't know. I just wanted to get this point across about the difference between a good leader as opposed to a bad leader. Because there are so many companies out there, so many businesses out there where the real problem is the person in charge. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're the owner of a business, don't be like this. Don't be the reason your employees bitch. Be the reason they're happy to come to work. Be the reason they celebrate you. I had a boss years ago that was he cared so much about the people that if you would try to talk to him about your job, he didn't care. He didn't want to hear it. He only wanted to know about you, about your family, did you watch the sports game last night? What did you think? And let's be honest, that's not beneficial at all to a company. However, he knew that if you thought that he cared about you, you would care to do good for him. He knew that principle, and he was brilliant. And I'll never forget that lesson. Be that kind of an employer. Be that kind of a president, a CEO, an entrepreneur, an owner, whatever you want to call yourself, a general manager, king of the castle, whatever the fuck it is you want to call yourself. Be one that's revered. Be one that people look up to. Don't be the type that everyone despises and wants to avoid when you step foot in their area, around them, you know? Make people love you, and they will want to run through a fucking wall for you. The greatest head coaches in any sport are the ones that are not only feared, but they're loved. Think about your parents growing up. You love your parents. You also fear the fuck out of them. There's not too many teenage boys who come from shitty homes where they don't respect or care about their family, but they're still, they don't love their dads usually when if their dads are just pieces of shit and beat them. The greatest dads, the ones that are consistently looked at as the greatest dads or greatest moms, are the ones that the children love and fear. It's not one or the other. So be a great one. Be a great leader. Make people fear that if they fuck you over, they're going to pay for it. But at the same time, and I don't mean like in a painful, like get their ass kicked or killed or anything like that. I just mean if they don't do their job good, they need to fear for their job. They need to fear that they're going to lose their job if they don't do good for you. At the same time, they need to love you to the point where they want to do a good job for you. Make the benefits about your company so great that people just line up to work there regardless what the fuck the pay is. And that doesn't mean underpay your people. It just means take care of them. Make sure that they know you're a family, not just some business partner that's there to make money and make them look good. Make them feel appreciated. That's what a good leader does. But anyway, that's all the time I got for today, guys. I really got to get going, but I love you and I thank you so much for listening. And if you want to get a hold of me on Instagram, it's Really Rich Podcast. On LinkedIn, it's Adam Rich. Twitter is Really Rich Adam. Snapchat's Really Rich. It's just basically something Really Rich or Adam Rich. You'll find it. And if you want to leave me a voice message, you can do that through the Anchor app. Please do. I like listening to those and responding and talking to people about it. So I love you, and please get a hold of me as soon as you can, all right? I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace. I'm out of here.